Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, it's the morning after of all the craziness yesterday. A lot. You know, we had, I don't know how many total, but tens of thousands, maybe even a few 100,000 total people out in the streets all across America protesting. I mean, most of them probably had no clue what they were protesting. Some of them were only out there because they were getting paid, but they were out there protesting. And while the vast majority of it, I'll admit, wasn't too terrible, there definitely was some violence out in Salt Lake City. There was a shooting against some police. Vehicle was driven into the crowd, all kinds of stuff. There's this guy that they're looking for, a manhunt up in Minnesota. That one's kind of got some suspicious, weird stuff going on. He put a mask on and acted like he was the police and ended up assassinating a state rep and then attempted to the other. Apparently him and his wife are doing this, and they were planning on just abandoning their whole family. They've got like 5 kids. They're saying this guy is a Republican, even though he was appointed by the very liberal Democrat governor to position a year or two ago. They're saying he's a very right-wing Christian white nationalist kind of guy. I don't know. It's got some weird stuff going on there. And of course, I mean, there's apparently been tragedy, loss of life and the tragedy in that family, and certainly keep that family in your prayers, or both of the families that were victims of this crazed shooter. But that's going on. We've got, little bits of stuff here in the United States. I don't think it's enough yet for people to stand up and say, oh, we've got, acts of terrorism. But there's a few little suspicious things that, might be happening. The president had his parade yesterday. I know it wasn't his. It was already kind of sort of planned, but he made it his, is what I'm saying. You have to admit that. He made it kind of his thing. The 250th anniversary of the Army Parade happened in Washington, D.C. That also kind of went off without too big of a hiccup. And then, of course, there's still a lot going on between Iran and Israel. They're just kind of blowing the snot out of each other. And it's crazy when you get online. The reporting anymore is so biased. It's so hard to find legitimate facts or anything, because everyone has is on one. So you listen to one and they're like, oh yeah, Iran is just blowing the snot out of Israel and they're being destroyed and they're going to crumble. And then the next one you look at, Iran, it's on the verge of collapse because Israel's doing such a good job. From what I can tell, it looks like both sides are handing it to each other pretty heavily, considering all things. There has been a lot of damage. I mean, it's not, to the damage of like World War II carpet bombing kind of stuff, but there does seem to be quite a bit of significant damage being put on each other. And then, of course, there's all the other stuff, What's going to happen with the illegals that are being deported now that we're told that, well, the farming industry and the restaurant industry and the hotel industry, we're not going to deport those illegals. Well, what about the construction industry? We're going to add that on too? I mean, at what point do we say, okay, well, we're only going to deport the ones that are actively involved in criminal activity, gang members? Well, that's still going to leave millions and millions, because as much as some of you may not want to admit it, the vast majority of the illegals that have come here, once they're here, they're mostly, not criminals, right? I mean, I know they're criminals coming here. That's not an argument. It is a criminal act to enter this country illegally. But the vast majority of them are not entering the country and then continuing to do illegal activity. So, this whole thing of we're going to get them all out, is that changing now? I don't know. It sometimes, it just depends on what day of the week it is. We can flop and change our opinions depending on the weather and the polls and all that kind of stuff, and who's paying the bills. I think the thing that you and I need to kind of start taking away from all of this is that our world, our lives, this reality, whatever you want to call it, is in a very unstable place. And I know that many of you were hoping that when a new president came in, when Trump got elected, that things would be different. I remember saying something months ago, for those of you that think that he's going to take office and it's just going to be this big kumbaya moment, you're wrong. Regardless of whether Trump's a really good guy like some think he is, or a really bad guy like others think he is, the plans, these things that are happening, it's already set in motion. And we are going to continually go through crazy, wild, chaotic, destructive, fearful times. And again, I believe it is the time that we're living in. I believe that we are in those kind of days of Noah time period. And I also believe that it's all being done for purpose. I don't know if you noticed, but yesterday, the parade, the Army parade, Palantir, big sponsor of that, big one. They were out there quite a bit. Also, a lot of other tech companies and cryptocurrencies were sponsors of that. That is the new wave. That is the direction, is to create, I think, enough of this chaos. Countries not being able to get along, markets not being stable, workers, well, we don't know what to do with all these workers. Oh, we've got all these illegals. We got all this crime. We got all these problems. We need something to come in and to fix these problems. And that's where this big system that they're developing is going to come in and take place. And understanding that along the way, there's going to be all kinds of more chaotic stuff. Like it's by no means over. Who knows how long this thing with Iran and Israel is gonna last? I mean, there are unconfirmed reports that Iran, through back channels, is saying, hey, we would be willing to talk about some kind of ceasefire. But the odds at this point, because of the level of destruction of this just going away, are becoming very, very slim. The world has changed, and it's not just recently that it's changed. This is remember the whole thing, the new normal. Well, it's true. It's a new normal. That we've normalized chaos, we've normalized darkness, we've normalized immorality, we've normalized evil, and that should be a warning sign. There should be some bells and sirens going off in your head because of that. And even if the thing with Iran and Israel eventually gets worked out, and even if the riots kind of fizzle out and go away, and all of this kind of, even if we don't end up in some kind of nuclear war or civil war or whatever, we have to understand that we are in a new normal of evil and chaos and destruction, with the intent to push humanity to the point that they will accept something that looks good. It's false. It's a false peace. It's a false hope. It's a false light. But it looks really good on the surface. It looks like it's real, and it will be effective. It will be effective. This idea that it's fake and it's going to come in and make things. No, it will bring about peace. It will bring about hope and prosperity. It'll do all of those things. But it'll do that through evil means, giving glory to self and Satan. We have to wake up and realize that. And if nothing else, that should be the reason why we are preparing ourselves. The physical preparations, the bug out bags and the guns and the homesteads and the gardens and the freeze-dried food and all that, those are just, keeping the oil in your lamps, right? Things that we really need to prepare for is right in here. We need to prepare our hearts, our souls. We need to keep our eyes fixated on Jesus, Yeshua, the Messiah. We need to be praying. We need to be consuming his word. We need to be praising his name, even in the darkness, and doing everything that we can to shine his light, because there's a lot of darkness out there. And we need to be strengthening our families, strengthening our faith, because these events that are happening around us, they are those signs. The Bible's very, very explicitly talks about being aware of the signs that are happening. And they are happening all around us. So, can I get on here and tell you what's going to happen with Iran and Israel? I mean, I can guess, which is really what everyone else is doing. I don't care if it's just another YouTuber or if it's some political pundit, whatever, that's making tens of millions a year. They're just guessing, and maybe their guesses are better, but that's all they're doing. The reality is what's most important right now is that we get our heart and soul ready, and we get our families and those around us ready. If you have a mag, if you have some kind of little group, you guys should be talking quite a bit right now, making plans, figuring out how you're going to do things as things get worse. If it's just you need to be reviewing what you're planning on doing, how you're going to go through a collapse, how you're going to go through the chaos that's out there when it comes home to you. You need to be getting ready, folks. I could tell you all these other grand things, but that's really it. I mean, it's so simple, but that is what we need to be doing. Because if you can't see these events and the events that's happened over the last few years, and you can't realize that the time is near for us to prepare ourselves, it is now, then I don't know what to tell you. Happy Father's Day to all you guys out there, your dads and granddads and everything else. Hope you guys have a good day, relax. I think I'm going to relax sitting on the mower. I don't know, we'll see. But take it serious. It doesn't mean that it's all going to blow up tomorrow, but it's smart to prepare ahead of time. And that's what we're given the chance and the opportunity to do right now. And so you need to take that opportunity. Get your houses in order. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.